Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On the Air with Tim and Ken. Ken, great to be back.
Tim, great to be back for our 15th episode. Hard to believe.
Fantastic. It's been a lot of fun, having a lot of fun with it. So it's still summer. We wanted to get this episode in before Labor Day, which is coming up, because as we always say, there's a lot going on. And we know after Labor Day, we've got baseball getting real serious, football, and a host of other things. And we'll touch on some of them tonight. So we wanted to get this episode in. And before we get too far into it, disclaimers again, this is just for fun. Don't make a wager. Don't bet the house on it. Don't take a stock pick out of it. Just sit back, enjoy, and we hope to hear from the viewers.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that joins us. We want to thank our design company, Image Builders of Clayton, North Carolina, for our hats and our shirts. They do a great job. They're the nicest people. There's no minimum. So we're really happy with all their work, and we thank them.
And we have no ownership.
We want to thank our production company that puts up with us episode after episode. So we really need to thank the production company as well.
Yeah, thank you. You can tell Ken and I put a lot into our backgrounds and stuff. So the set's a lot of work. But let's move along. So that's great. We have another thank you. I was at a wedding real quick. I was at a wedding last week, and Ken, as you know, I don't usually get invited to nice things like that very often for obvious reasons. I don't deserve to go. But a gentleman down in Connecticut, father of the bride, was at the ceremony, beautiful ceremony. And he came up to me and he told me that he's a subscriber to our podcast. So I was thrilled. His name is John. John's been a great businessman over the years. He knows his way around the golf course. But really what John has done, he married well above his pay scale. He's got a beautiful bride himself. And he's a great family man. And that's his biggest accomplishment. So congratulations to the bride and groom. I had a great time at your wedding. And they have a great family. So I just wanted to mention that subscriber. He came up to me, he had a lot on his mind that night, but he came up to me anyway and mentioned that. So that was pretty neat. I should have had a hat for him, but I didn't. So
next wedding.
Next wedding, right? I don't get invited very often. On kind of a different kind of a note, sad note, we had something kind of, a little near and dear to me. Ron Turcotte. We talked about Ron. He was the great jockey back in 1973 that rode secretariat to all those records. He passed away at age 84. He had more than a full life, but he passed away recently, and we talked about him quite a bit in the spring. We recognized him back then. So God bless Ron Turcotte. Rest in peace. You did a lot for the sport and a lot for others coming along after he had a severe injury. He still maintained a lot of focus for charity. So what a great story he was. So
yeah, condolences to his family. Said he won over 3,000 races. That's a lot to win.
It's a lot to win, and you don't do that by accident. So great guy. You were telling me we were coming on the air here, and you mentioned, "Hey Tim, I got to bring up the newest billionaire," and I didn't see my name on that list, but you've got a name out there.
And it's not me either, but with the U.S. Open coming up, and actually just starting, I think yesterday in New York, the tennis, Roger Federer joins the Billionaire Club, and he's one of the most well-known champions. He's won 20 Grand Slams. He retired back in 2022, and I think he's the 9th athlete to be a billionaire. The other ones are Michael Jordan, Magic, LeBron. See, LeBron didn't need that $50 million to come to New York.
That's right.
He could have come for a lot less.
But you said 20 Grand Slam wins? 20?
Junior Bridgman, former NBA player. Cristiano Ronaldo, Tiger, Floyd Mayweather. And then a Romanian tennis player by the name of Ion Isaric.
Wow.
Who's 86, who's worth $2.3 billion.
But back to Federer, you said he won 20 Grand Slams?
20 Grand Slams, yeah.
Wow. In golf terms, you think of like a Jack Nicklaus with 18 majors, right? So you keep that.
Well, I think Djokovic has won more, right?
Yeah.
So they're Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer had that run for many years where it was one of the three of them winning. But it's a lot of his wealth came from a minority interest in a Swiss shoe and apparel company.
Really?
So yeah,
wow.
But good for him, and he was a great player.
Yeah.
and I'm sure he misses not being at the U.S. Open on the court this year.
Yep.
So
Kind of a neat story. Yeah. You don't, in today's world, it's no longer millionaires, it's billionaires. But for us tonight, you and I talked before we came on. We're going to have kind of two main topics tonight. We're going to go through some international events, and we're going to talk about golf updates. And there's quite a bit going on. And then I want to give a preview because we always run out of time. Probably right after Labor Day, NFL season, college football, baseball, Ryder Cup. A lot of things really heat up right after Labor Day or get going. And so we're going to get on that. We're going to get back to streaming. We even want to go back to possibly some commercial real estate talk that we did 6 or 8 months ago now for a quick update on that as things have been changing over the course of the year. And I thought September might be a better time to talk about it with the Fed meeting coming up and all that. But so there's a lot going on.
yeah, there's a lot going on definitely with the fall sports, college, pro football, and how all these new streaming services are going to impact it. And, we'd love to hear from people that, if you've signed on for $29.99 a month to get ESPN, how is that working out for you? Same with Fox. So it will be interesting to see how those two streaming services who have kind of gone all in will work out.
We'll see how that plays out and how it works out practically for people like you and I watching our favorite sporting events and so forth. But you did a little homework for me today. You had the whiteboard, and I think you put something to help me out. So Ken and I were talking, and we sometimes we get down to some details on numbers and things, but I wanted to bring a bigger picture to everybody. Look at all the upcoming international events we have coming up in this country, in the U.S. We just had the Little League World Series. That's a phenomenal ongoing thing every year. It's just a great event. We talked about that during the last episode. We got the U.S. Open tennis. Just started this past, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. So
yesterday.
Yeah, and that's going on for another 2 weeks. That we'll get into that. We get the Ryder Cup coming up in this fall in New York in September. So that's a month out. We got one of Ken's favorite things, Pickleball World Cup down in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know anything about it, but I did a little bit of research. We'll get into that a little bit. We get the Boston Marathon in the spring in April every year. One of my favorites, the Kentucky Derby. That's kind of the start of spring with the Masters Golf. You get that in May. You get the Indy 500 also in May. Then what's unique coming up for next year? The real big thing is World Cup Soccer. In June it starts. Huge. Then you get right back into golf with the U.S. Open golf. Another worldly type event. And then not too far in the distant future, you get the summer 2028 Olympics in LA. So there's a lot of things going on coming up with an international flavor, all in the United States. I'm going to run through a few of them. You can pull that board down. That's good. I'm going to run through a few of them with a little bit of detail on them. Not all of them, but I just thought it would be neat to talk about what we have right in our own country as far as sports. We love sports, and I thought with an international.
So I watched the Little League World Series yesterday. The finals were yesterday.
Yeah.
Chinese Taipei won their 18th title. It ended a 29-year drought. And what was pretty cool at the end, they brought the Little League softball champions onto the field. So nice. they recognized both teams on the field after the game as being the world champions. So it that was great to see that the girls were getting as much coverage as the boys.
Yeah.
So the talent is really excellent. It's an enjoyable. I didn't watch as much probably as the softball, but it was an enjoyable event, and the talent is just really good.
What a great event for everybody involved in all the communities, and every year at Williamsport. It's just a great thing. What must be a great summer for all the participants and the families and the communities. So just a great thing in Pennsylvania. The next thing I want to talk about is something that just started. We just mentioned it was the U.S. Open tennis. This is the 145th year of it. It's been a long time going. It's in Flushing Meadows, New York. In Queens, New York. Goes for 15 days. 128 players. So if you start, Ken, I don't know if you have a tennis racket, but if you started that tournament, minimum payout's $110,000. So if you qualified for it, you're gonna get a paycheck. Just some interesting notes on that. I did a little bit of internet research and some other things. They're going to use about 100,000 tennis balls on 43 courts. The winner prize is $5 million. The runner-up is $2.5 million. Total purse money this year, $90 million. Huge. Over 1 million people will attend. Again, this is in Queens, New York, so there's a lot of folks flowing in there. To win the championship, to hoist that trophy and get that big check, you have to win 7 matches. Gross revenue for the whole tournament estimated over $500 million. The finals,
Incredible.
Isn't that something? That's what a great thing.
Something.
The finals are every year at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and that is the largest dedicated tennis stadium in the world. There are bigger forums, but not just dedicated to tennis. That's the biggest one in the world. Capacity there is about 23,700. I don't have a ticket yet. If anybody wants to give up their seat, I'd be happy to join them. I'm not there yet. And one of your things, ABC and ESPN will be covering that. So I don't know how this team is going to work, but they'll be the.
And I think the women make it's one of the few events where the women and men have the same prize money, I believe.
Yes. Yep. And here's something interesting for the women. You talked about the women. In 2023, the finals with Coco Gauff, the American, 3.4 million viewers watched that. That was, I believe, the most watched, and so that's great for them. And she won the event, and she's only 22 years old this year. And I was just reading like a day or two ago, she's got a new manager or a coach or something. That was just breaking news. I don't know what that's all about, but see how she performs with her change, coming to this major event. So that's really what I got for the U.S. Open. I don't have any tickets.
It's a great event. You've seen the night matches over the years have become famous. Those matches that go, half the night.
Yeah.
So it's a great event, and it brings a lot of money into New York City.
It's really neat. The venue on TV looks spectacular. Like you said, it's not like you don't know how long these matches are going to be. They could be 2, 3, 4 hours. So like you said, they get booked up during the day, they get behind. And some of these matches that are starting in the early evening are pushed off to like a 9 o'clock Eastern start time. So you're watching, the fans are there late. It's just, summertime. It's great. It's phenomenal stuff. Great tournament. So enjoy that. That's going on right now as we speak. Then we're going to rock and roll. We get the Ryder Cup, one of our favorite things, coming up in September. Beth Page, one of your favorite courses. Beth Page,
Great course.
U.S. versus Europe. Let's see. Now, this is something interesting, and you can add a lot more to it than I can. Is overall the U.S. has won, there's 27 wins to 15 losses, or 15 wins for the Europeans. It started in 1927. And let's see, the Americans, if you make the American team, and we'll get into that a little bit later on the golf update, each golfer gets $500,000 stipend. The Europeans don't get anything. There's no prize money for either one. So the Americans, I guess the American way, you get a stipend for playing, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, for many years, and I can't remember what year, maybe it was the late 70s, it was U.S. against England.
Right.
And then it was, obviously not competitive, and they extended it to continental Europe, and that's where like Seve Ballesteros and Nick Faldo.
Good point.
Became household names as they were the face of the European Ryder Cup team, and Europe has kind of dominated lately over the last. So it'll be interesting to see, coming up in a few weeks. How the U.S. team does, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yep, we will.
It's a great event. It does suck you in if you're a golf fan, and it's going to be a circus in New York.
Yeah, it's where the crowd's more like a football crowd or something like that than the typical golf crowd. It's really quite different.
Yes.
So it's exciting. So that's coming up next month. That's going to be huge. And we got pickleball coming up in October. Now this is going to be at Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale used to be known for spring break. Now it's known for, I guess, pickleball. I don't know much about pickleball. I played it once, almost killed myself. But and I was surprised it's not being played at the Villages of all the places. I think that might be appropriate. But no, seriously, it's a big sport. I didn't realize this, that 50 million people play this in the United States. It's been around since 1965. I was reading the history of it. There was a couple out of us. They were out on vacation in the state of Washington, sitting around one night. They probably had a few cocktails, got some things together, and they created pickleball. And it's really grown. And this, I call it the Pickleball World Cup. I don't know how all this works. There's a lot of different series and different tournaments and things. So if I'm not quite accurate, forgive me on that. But it's kind of evolving because there's some big money involved. There's some big purse money. I mean, six figures, and some of the players that do it, they make huge money from sponsorship and things like that. So I'm joking about it a little bit. I played it once. It really is quite good. It was a lot better than I thought. So it's here to stay. It's been around since 1965. So
you see it all over the place now. You turn on TV, there's pickleball on, and
yeah,
there's
no, it's
teams.
a real thing.
I read that there was an expansion. There's some league that has an expansion team, and it costs $16 million for the pickleball expansion team. I mean,
Wow. Well, it's something I didn't think I'd be talking about, but there you go. And then my notes say that in the springtime of 2026, we get back to the Boston Marathon. That certainly has an international flavor to it, and that's in my backyard in Boston. That's a great event. Then right after that, we roll into the Kentucky Derby on May 2nd. Again, another international flavor there. You got a lot. You got the whole world showing up for that. You got 150,000 people having a lot of drinks and a lot of fun, and horses from around the world. Also in May of next year, 2026, the Indy 500. Now, I found this kind of interesting. I've never been to like a lot of things. I've never been, but it's kind of a neat thing. It started in 1911. Now, in 1911, the average winning speed was 74.6 miles. 74.6 miles. And more recently, the winning speed is 168 plus miles. All the starters get a paycheck, and there's only 33 starters. I thought this was funny. What I read was they limited to 33 starters. The reason, safety. People watch this. I mean, let's face it, a lot of casual fans watches are the highlights of the crashes. Thankfully, they found a way to make these things a lot safer. But it's for safety. So I just thought that was a little bit ironic. Gross revenue, $1 billion. You can get tickets for 350,000 capacity for the fans. And I went online, you can get tickets for like $125. Obviously, a lot of different vantage points. I wouldn't know what a good spot is from some other spot, but you can get tickets for it, and you won't be alone. 350,000 people. So I didn't know a lot about
that. Is crazy. Like,
yeah.
And they talk about safety, right? Oh no, we'll just jam 350,000 people in here.
What can go wrong, right? They got 3 hours and 4 hours of having a great time, and so it's a lot of fun.
You're safer in the car than you are in the stands with the 350,000 people, probably.
Years ago, that was true before they had all that netting up, and people were getting up. The tires would go flying and all that.
Yeah.
Not now, at least I think you're safe sitting there, from what they tell me. There's probably too many lawsuits, and then we go into next June. This is the big one. World Cup Soccer started in 1930, 48 countries. We're going to play World Cup Soccer primarily in the United States. There'll be a couple matches up in Canada. It started in 1930. The United States has never won. Their best finish has been third place. That was in 1930. So again, if they can be competitive on their home soil, it's going to be huge. It's the biggest sporting event on TV. Viewership will be, they anticipate, because the last time in 2022, there were over 1.4 billion viewers worldwide. It may not be the biggest thing in this country, but it's the biggest sport in the world, and it's coming to the United States in the biggest fashion. It's going to be, and if you want tickets, you can, I think the lottery, you got to put into a lottery or whatever, and that starts in September. So now's the time to get your name in there if you want to get tickets. It's all over the country. So if you want to get to that, even if you just don't really know much about soccer, it would just be a heck of an event to go to. So I'm going to try to get tickets. I'll see if I can get in there. It'd be a blast.
And I think in December at the Kennedy Center, they're doing like an NFL thing where they're releasing the schedule. So
Yeah.
Again, another way to make a buck, another way to, promote your sport, but I think they're going to
Yeah.
do a prime time event on, the drawings of the schedule. So
So
it is a
everything I
humongous event.
yeah, it's
It is a humongous event.
pretty
It's
huge.
crazy.
It's huge. So everything I just mentioned is between now, the Little League World Series up through the World Cup was between now and less than a year from now starting. The World Cup goes from June 11th to July 19th, and the finals are going to be in at the MetLife in New Jersey on July 19th. So huge. One thing, a little bit further out, I just footnoted the Summer Olympics in LA in 2028. I kept thinking it was next year. You said, Tim, you having a senior moment. It's going to be 2028. It's sneaking up on you, but so a lot going on the international flavor in sports in the United States. So I just wanted to kind of get people thinking about that, and I get kind of excited about thinking about all those things. So, all right, we got to turn to golf.
Yeah, so we have a couple of golf things as to finish up the show. Congratulate Tommy Fleetwood winning the FedEx Cup. His first PGA Tour win after 164 events.
Wow.
He seems like a great guy. He was close a couple times this year and lost painfully. He played really well yesterday in finishing up. He's from England. He's a world class player. It was great to see him close it out. He played well. If you watch the 15th hole, which is a long par three over water, he did look physically sick on the tee, as I think anybody would. But
It took a long time to figure out
he,
what club to hit there. He went back and forth.
he
Back
found
and forth.
land. Yeah,
Yeah,
he found land and was able to close it out. So congratulations to him.
yeah,
This Wednesday, we're recording on Monday.
yeah.
The Ryder Cup, Keegan Bradley, who's the U.S. captain, will make his 6 captain picks. The biggest question is whether he will select himself. It's going to be a really interesting decision.
He's had a great
He's
year.
played.
He's
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 played really well. He
he's
would be a
deserved
captain's
by
pick if
getting
he
it.
wasn't the captain. If somebody else was the captain, they would definitely select him. It's a monster decision. I mean, he's got a lot of responsibilities as captain, and whether he thinks he can manage playing and captaining, I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out. I kind of hope he doesn't select himself. I think he needs to focus, on being the captain. There's a lot of great players out there that, will be eligible for the team.
You said
So
his
that'll be,
obligation as captain. He even said yesterday during the FedEx or during the week, he only played 2 9-hole rounds to get ready for the FedEx Cup because he was, answering media questions on the Ryder Cup and getting ready for that. He was pulled in too many directions. He did very well in the FedEx Cup, but he said, I really didn't have a chance to practice.
he's had a great season. One of the issues it could be, and it's all gamesmanship, is the captain is the only person that can talk to the players on the course. So if he's playing, the vice captains, I think there's 4 of them, aren't technically allowed to talk to players on the course, and whether Europe would grant a waiver or something. It's gamesmanship. They may not. They may say, look, you're not, the captain's the only one that's playing. So if he's on the course, you can't talk to the players and let him know how the wind's going or what happened at a prior hole. So
Yeah.
I kind of hope he doesn't. I think everybody thinks he will because he has earned it by his playing. It's the first of many interesting stories to come up.
And look at the venue, Bethpage. It's a monster course.
It's going to be. It's a U.S. Open style course. I'm interested to see how they make it for a Ryder Cup, which is usually a risk reward course over water. There's no water on the course.
Yeah.
Where they're going to try to shorten up some of the par fours to make them drivable, to try to create some excitement there. I was a little surprised when they announced it as a Ryder Cup course. It wouldn't be one that you would think, based on how it is, a great match play course. But we'll see. It'll be a great event.
And in New York, I
And
mean, it's huge.
so 2 more quick things before we wrap up. The PGA Tour has released the 2026 schedule. Doral is back on the schedule, and why is that interesting? It was a PGA event for 54 years. The Trump family bought it. It was kind of around the time that, President Trump became president in 16. There was a lot of commotion and sponsorship stuff, so they moved away. It's back on, it had become a live tour event course, and now it's going back to the PGA Tour. We kind of know that there's been talks between the PGA Tour and the live tour, and whether this is the first of a series that, like, maybe they're starting to get along a little bit. There's also a new PGA Tour committee led by Tiger Woods on trying to shape the future of golf and change the game. And they're not really clear what that means or how they're going to do it. So again, that's something else, whether they're going to involve the team concept of live. And, sometimes in these sports deals, the silence means they're moving in directions. We haven't heard a lot from either side. And I think one last thing to keep an eye on is Keegan has announced that he wants everybody on the Ryder Cup to play in the September 11th PGA Tour event to keep their game sharp. Bryson DeChambeau has qualified for the team. He's not eligible as a live member to play on the PGA Tour event. It'll be interesting to see whether the PGA will give him an exemption to play in it.
Yeah.
For the good of the team, and again, whether they're closer to a deal, maybe than anybody thinks, or at least slowly inching toward a new deal. So
you and I have talked about this live and this whole thing for a while off the air over the last few weeks, and we've been talking about what this silence means, what those little nuances that you pointed out mean. So we think it's, at least I think it's headed in an agreement going down the road, and it seems like it is, but it's been very quiet.
It's been very quiet, and sometimes in sports that's a good thing.
Yeah. And
so,
before you go on,
there's billions of dollars out there. This isn't a money issue. This
not
is,
a money. And you saw LeBron James was tweeting out yesterday during the golf match. So
yes, supporting Tommy Fleetwood. Yeah, that was great.
I thought that was neat. And we'll see where he ends up. You and I, we talked about, we'll come back to him later at another episode, but I just thought that was really cool that he tweeted out there and they showed it. And then,
all right, we're out of time. We thank everybody for joining and watching, and we hope everybody has a nice Labor Day weekend. And we'll be back shortly after Labor Day.
Ken, good to see you. Thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of summer. Enjoy Labor Day, and we'll see you probably right after Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the U.S. Open tennis.
And don't forget to visit our X account. It's you can see it. It's at Tim Ken Podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.